Welcome to, to
Hi.
to to another What the F UX session where we do what we do and we do it well.
Mostly we ask
Yeah.
what the F UX about things and stuff that are going on in the user experience. So, welcome back for those of you who know and have been here before. We have our little wheel of topics that we're going to spin so that we can always land on topics and answer authentically as we do. And for those of you who are new, that's what happens. And you can't see it because I click a button. But here we go.
Well, true.
To my most vananess. You ready? Spin. Yeah.
She always ready.
Wheel.
Spin.
You stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. And
Hair flick that I don't have.
I mean, okay. Today's topic is ooh, she hot. God.
Okay.
Today's
Okay.
wheel
I
of
wish we had
topics.
marshmallows.
Battleground, make it pretty versus make it work.
This is good. This is gonna be good. It gets me excited, but then it makes me tired at the same time. Because not the topic, but the topic. You go into a situation and you're on a team or whatever, and there's a challenge, there's an opportunity, or there's a problem, and sometimes you cross paths with someone, some form of stakeholder, who in some scenarios, which you gotta hike up your socks for, they just want you to copy the competition and they don't know why, they can't isolate why. They don't necessarily have enough diction in this space to express why maybe the competition's offering is hitting, and they want you and your team to get to that level, but they can't describe why or what even the real need is. Why do we need to copy them, so to speak? Or why does it, point blank, why does it need to be pretty? Things need to be delightful. Things need to be to meet a need or create an opportunity for people, an affordance for people. But pretty is dangerous territory. I feel like there should be a balance of functionality and aesthetic. That's my first reaction to that.
I think that's fair. I think, are you still on the process of that?
No, sorry. Please.
Simmering? Okay.
I'm still simmering, but yes, by all means.
Okay, so I think this kind of gets at the make it pretty versus make it work. I think this, we keep having this, not to be a researcher because I is, but we have this common thread that seems to be at the like a commonality in our episodes and in our what the FUX-ness is this idea of like, what do we do? What is our identity? What is UX? Yeah. And I think that kind of plays out here. Like, is our job to make it pretty or is our job to make it work? There's been a bit of chatter about that on, some social places, social media around the UX space lately. And I think we kind of lose sight of the core feature of making it work. And I think that the awareness that the main idea is that people can interact with a product or whatever it is we're building in a way that is easy and makes sense, that can be done visually. Humans perhaps have, I don't know, never mind humans. I think what happens is when we become, humans, reductionistic. So this idea that everything boils down to a singularity or a simple or a one thing. Now, making it just this, make it pretty, is somehow synonymous with making it work. It's a bit of a leap, but I think they are not fundamentally the same thing. And, kind of almost knocking down the hard work that goes into understanding the process, the pain points, the experiential, which is the whole point of user experience. It's experiential. Some of that might be in relationship to how things look, but it's how things feel. Our job is about how people feel when they interact with stuff. And that may, in some degrees, a very small flavoring of that, a salty little on topness might be the visual, but it's so much more than that. But like if we're running with this reductionistic, perhaps misinformed, but well
Yes.
popularized ideology
Yes.
that somehow this is what's up for what we do, here we are.
Hmm.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I need more
And
coffee.
there's oh, just get it. But let me.
Please.
Would you go get some coffee and
No.
I'll hold the. I'm just kidding.
No.
So there's some unpacking to do when we talk about look and feel. When we talk
Mm.
about the layers of an experience for a human to interact with. A screen, an interface, a device, or even a physical space, we're going to use our senses and how we interpret whatever information is being offered to us. When we think about when you go to a hospital, that's an experience. If you need to, and by that I mean navigation, to find your way to different departments, wings, offices, etc. And sometimes they'll have they'll have different combinations to facilitate that wayfinding. It's similar when we think about tech or screens, devices, things of that nature. There are layers. Folks like us need to understand if there's a problem, what the root cause of it is, the parallel to how the visual is connected to this, and how can we not simplify. Simplification isn't necessarily binary end goal. Sometimes it requires like a mixed method approach from like the research and design. And so look and feel are important. Look is important, but pretty I would say is not the goal. That would be like a cherry on top if it makes sense as a differentiator for like whatever you're trying to bring to market. I've
Mm.
used apps in a scenario where I tried one app and it got the job done and it was functional, but I didn't feel like I wanted to continue using it versus an app that I
Mm.
am using now, which I feel is it's not sexy by any means, but it is also not bare bones. I feel like
Mm.
it's achieved a balance of the function and the need that I expect from it, and I don't feel like it's convoluted. I don't feel like it's inundating me with too many things when my objective is to accomplish a particular task.
Yes. Okay. 2 points. One.
Mhm.
Awesome. God, I love this conversation. Okay. One is that piggybacking. You don't have to answer this. This is hypothetical. Would you rather use a product that works or a product that looks good? Okay. Boo bop bop bee boo
Yeah.
boo. Second, when we say make it pretty and looks good, that's not accessible language, is it? And I think if you
Mm.
start getting hit with that from C suites or stakeholders, there are a lot of people who cannot see. There are a lot of people for whom that is not part of it. And so if the whole point is, fuck the experience, then that means it's unaccessible, it's inaccessible. That is a maybe that whole commentary might be a red flag around the accessibility inclusivity in the environment and the build.
Yes,
Pondery,
and
right?
also opportunity to generate more revenue because you're leaving people out of the so-called value prop that you claim to have. So listening to you makes me also wonder about this one question, and
Mm.
there I'll just put it out there. Is user experience simply about pursuing clarity, like clarity of achieving of achieving a task?
Hmm.
Like I feel like there are branches that can stem like emanate from that. You can I think it boils back. It easily comes back to functionality, and then functionality with unnecessary layers. And it's like this
Mm-hmm.
delicate, this like fine line of how much is too much. Let's make sure. Let's add all these features, but are these features really helping, or are they impeding the progression that the user is seeking? I mean, like if it's related, like things should be related when you're in that environment, but what if it's an impediment? What if it becomes a blocker? What if someone, and I think based on these what ifs, I feel like a lot of those, when we think about clarity, depending on where your business is at or where like the product is at, talking to your customers is your potential customers. If it's not, whether it's brand new, existing, you're trying to refine and iterate. Talking to you need to be talking to people. You need to be testing with it. You need to be checking to see what the temperature is in based on different use cases, so that you can have a sense of how effective a particular feature or a particular trajectory for a task is. And if you're if you're in a space that has competition, I don't know why you wouldn't be doing that, as opposed to throwing on a new feature. New isn't always necessarily the answer. That's my opinion on that.
Yep. So +1, totally. And I think one of the things that stands out from what you said is, you need to test and do research. If it said, what task are you trying to solve for and do you need help? Then you get those streams of ease. So it's not about more features, more windows, more tiles, more this. It's about checking in with your user, both in terms of the research that leads up to the builds and at every state of it, from ideation to post-launch, checking in, but then also checking in with the expectation frameworks you're working from. Keep asking as part of the tool. Keep that dialogue going with the user. So when we talk about, is the goal to make things easy, the goal is to get the user to their goal, whatever their goal is. And the idea is to make it the least lift possible, so that people can get to their need faster. They're not doing this because they feels like it. It's their job, or they're trying to get something else done, or like, I just want to book this haircut. I literally have 5 minutes to myself in between what I'm doing. I just want to get my haircut. And I can't, because it's cluttered with all these things, or it's very pretty, but it's trash because I can't actually do what I want. The information isn't there.
Maybe it's, and then the flip, like the not counter, but the opposite to that is maybe it doesn't look good and it's functional, but then what does that mean? It mean like trust, like the trust, like, wait a minute, like this thing looks like it came from GeoCities. Bruh. Is my booking, is my objective going to be fulfilled? And so delicate balance.
Interesting. And the make it pretty maybe needs to be, is it built in a way that looks trustworthy? So I think you raise an interesting insight there. Like, trust matters so much. Also wrote an article on it. Check it out. But it's one of those things. It's like, we don't all have brand identity. And also brand identity can be a counter to building new trust. If you screw people over, they'll hate your brand forever. People don't come past that. That's another cognitive bias. Boop. We're humans. And so I think that's a really important piece. And so making things look a particular way, almost like a minimum, an MVP, I guess, but like that minimum state, so people trust it. It looks right. It does the thing. And then how to make it exceed is less about the beautification and more about the touching what the users want. That's where the user experience comes in. That is where we thrive. And that is where you get products that people are like, yes, that's why I stay. Is because it hits all of those expectations. And then it gives me what I need on top in a way that works better, easier, faster, smoother than the other.
Even if you're not, that's right. And even if your value prop and your MVP isn't sexy, if you've done the preliminary work, let's say we're starting from zero. If you've done the preliminary work, you've done the research, you've done some form of competitive analysis if necessary. But if you're working collaboratively and your MVP ticks most of the boxes, there's still room to grow. Because you still need to know if your MVP is going to do the job. Will it perform the function? And I want things to look great, yes, but it'll all be for naught if the end user, or like if the business goals and the user needs do not align.
Yep. Yes, and I think maybe this is one of those moments, and something we'll talk to in a different episode as well. But the establishing the purpose of what user experience is and ensuring that
Hmm.
that is continuously fed up and out about the work that we do within the places we find ourselves. And so that, make it pretty is not a valid counterpoint from anybody. Heat emoji. Because it uniformly eats up, it consumes, let's use fire talk, it consumes the the purpose, so it takes away from what we're trying to do, and suffocates it with something else that isn't it, that doesn't solve the problem, that will not make it better. And then when it comes to the end of the day and they're like, why didn't this make money? Because it wasn't wrapping the needs in a way of functioning that works for people. Like,
Hmm.
making it pretty doesn't make it fit the user's needs. I don't know
Yeah.
how else to frame that.
Yeah.
Right?
And when we talk about needs, and we can ramp down or whatever, but
Mm.
when we talk about needs, that can surface navigation, accessibility, and in no order of importance. Like natural language that people can understand depending on the
Yes.
space. Um, there are levels, and so it is a concert of functions, or rather,
Mm.
concert of requirements, user experience requirements, that create this symphony that can really, bring delight potentially.
That was beautiful. I loved that. And to plus 10 million trillions on that, I think, when we're talking about the user experience and we just make it about this visual, we remove the inclusion, we remove the accessibility, we are also removing the emphasis from all those important things you just said, making sure people understand. We cannot take for granted, the reading level, or the knowledge base, or the language, the first, second, third, fourth, fifth. It's so assumptive, and those are the things that need the energy. And I actually was, really excited, by your point, because those are the things that user experience is more than a singularity. It's this beautiful, multifaceted, and we don't have to make things uncomplex. Our goal is not
Mm-hmm.
to make UX less complex. Our work is complex work. It's to make it not complex for the user, to ensure that the
Yeah.
complexities we're solving for are solved for. And I think that's the key, right? Nice.
DJ Khaled, keys, keys. I think we hit it.
I think we hit it. That was solid.
Yeah.
Cool.
If you want to let us know if you think we hit it, here is our. If we hit the mark, here's our email address. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, ideas, topic ideas, or just ideas, I don't know what we're gonna do with that. Like, I mean, carrot muffins are great, but like, why are you giving me a recipe? I didn't ask you for that, but I'm hungry. Do send it, but send something more relevant at the same time. But we do what we do,
UX.
and we do it well. UX.
Pretty much just asking what the FUX, and
All the time.
thanks for coming with us on this ride. And we're still
See
hungry.
you next time.
So,
I'm still hungry. I'm still Chris. So,
and I'm still Ashley. All right. And we need a sign off that isn't shit.
shit.
It's so dumb.
It just feels right. It just
Feels really right. I like it.
Until we find it. Until like it was. It's cuffing season for catch anchoring phrases closeouts. Okay, we will level up when we find the next one. Like, bye.
Oof.
Just next.
So, like, bye. That's it.
That's exactly it.
We're not cutting that in
Bye.
post
That's
either.
it. No.
We're not-
Why?
no.
Why? Don't. No. Yeah.